Well,
Check on the people online.
can you hear?
Here?
Can you hear me online? If you can, raise your hand or something. I don't know.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, great. All right. All right, we're gonna open up the meeting and we're gonna start with public comments. And people will have 2 minutes. And is anybody in the audience here who wants public comments? No. Online, any public comments? I see there's none. Then we'll move to the, oh, go ahead.
Princess here. I just wanted to know if we can get like, how do we get like football lines on the new Shields Reed field? Like I see that there's a soccer field out there. So I'm wondering like, how can we, talk to the city to get football lines out there as well, and football teams?
Okay. That would. We should talk to Shields Reed, neighborhood council. And so maybe we can get that. We're gonna move to item number 3 of law enforcement and sheriff's department. Yeah.
Or can you?
Oh, okay.
Or can you speak to the alley, please, or close to the alley on this thing? Yeah, okay. Deputy Gallardo, I'm the new North Richmond deputy. The stats for this month, we've had a total of 386 calls. 41 of those resulted in a report, and our crime reports are down to 4 this month, which is less than half from last.
Any questions? Questions online?
Thank you, Chair. Question, I actually with my other side job at Function Germany. I believe this Thursday, the district attorney is also holding a meeting regarding human trafficking. So hopefully, I don't know if the sheriff department is participating this week in this meeting, that the DA is also holding. So I know we had a lot of discussions about that the concerns about the legal councils, human trafficking going on 23rd of the case.
Where is that gonna be?
One question. I'll get back by then. I'll get back to you.
Great.
This is very
Give back to Tanya. Sorry.
I'll be attending the meeting, and I can share that with you all for the council to see if anyone of you wanna participate as a representative.
And actually, they really are asking people to participate because they seem to be not getting as many people involved. So they're going to make a crucial decision. So that is a concern.
Tanya, do you know exactly what the?
It's at the center, Peace Center.
I'm looking at it right now.
It's at 10 a.m.
But that's
Thursday.
Yeah.
This Thursday?
Right.
Did they decide about human trafficking?
Yeah, so they're kind of bringing back this task force, and
Yes.
it involves like, city, county representatives, like at all levels, basically, and they're really trying to like do a concerted effort to like, address like human trafficking with a focus on women.
Okay. Want to move on to for the sheriff's department. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your report.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And for the city of Richmond.
Good evening. My name is Sergeant Mike Sading. I am the sergeant assigned to B5, which encompasses North Richmond. Kind of found out about this meeting from Lieutenant Lucas a little late. So I don't have exact numbers for everyone as far as crime stats, specifically in the North Richmond area. I know the calls for service are very minimal. The most notable thing recently was the Hood Day. And that was somewhat overwhelming. I know that we had to call when they were Shields Reed, mutual aid from all the other agencies in the west end of the county. Once they were cleared out of the park, they moved to Fifth and Market and had a sideshow and had to be in the sheriff's office called for mutual aid also. So, we were a little bit more prepared for the big day here in North Richmond after having a couple in other parts of the city of Richmond that got out of control. So, yeah, but as far as calls for service and crime within North Richmond, at least on the city side, it's been very, very minimal. I don't have an exact number, but I can tell you from the years I've worked out here, it's way, way down, which is a good thing. Yes, ma'am.
So people are convening on good days, which is great, right? People being able to convene in their community. And I'm glad, when I seen y'all out there, so I was really glad to see y'all out there. Was there any arrest on the day or any criminal activity that you
There
guys?
was a lot of drinking, a lot of fighting, a lot of fights. I'm guessing that's based on the alcohol, and that would be later in the evening. As far as the rest, I don't think there were any arrests. I think the biggest issue was just they were blocking Kelsey, cars double parked, and then I think our presence helped alleviate some of that. I know last year's, I wasn't at this year's, last year's I was working that shift. And you couldn't get a patrol car or a fire truck down Kelsey until 2 a.m. It was just out of control.
I will say compared to all the other hood days around Richmond, that North Richmond probably brings out the biggest crowd. And majority of those folks are not from the area. They come from all around the Bay Area, California to attend the city.
Correct. Yeah, that seems to be the going thing with all of them. And it's only been the last couple of years that they've started, that I've seen, where they've started to get this out of control.
Okay, thank you. Madam. She brought up what I was gonna ask you about the hood that took place. I think it was on a Saturday, a couple of Saturdays ago. And from the information that, was given to me, that as it alluded, they are coming from all over the Bay Area. And one of the things that they mentioned was to take back North Richmond because it has become so quiet. That was one of the indicators that was said. As long as it's quiet here, they would like to stir it up. Now, with that information that I had, and that came closely from what was going on Saturday, for all the activity that was going on. Do you see a rise in this going from different city to city that happens not just on Saturdays, or do they have a particular time that they look for at the end of summer or the beginning of summer? Or
It seems to be around this time of year. I know last year they had some, and then they tried to have some after that. I know that there's one this Saturday in Parkchester, and we're aware of it. And then I know the one in the Pullman townhouses is coming up soon also. They seem to be happening now annually around this time. I worked out here in North Richmond as a deputy 11 years ago, and I don't remember them up. They didn't have.
Never had it.
North Richmond was way different back then, way different. And it's only in the last couple of years that I've started to see these, and it's, I think, a culmination of that. You have the sideshows and social media, and people are just seeing this, and they're coming out of the woodworks, for lack of a better word, and they're not from North Richmond. They're not North Richmond folk.
I just have one more comment. This is just a comment. So the tools that you're using, I guess, to disperse this, are you using drones to go over and to look at the same as they did with, the same as they did with sideshows? I mean, we know this is happening.
We deployed the drone.
Yeah, to get these lights in place, to tell this.
So we've deployed the drone. It's obviously gonna be a lot safer than sending a handful of officers into a crowd of 100 people. As far as tools we've used, we call it a skirmish line, and it's just, we start making announcements and just walking. We're not using tear gas, we're not using batons. It's just You could say it's a show of force, but it's more of just, hey, we got a line of officers, we're pushing you out. And so far, people have been good. No one's thrown bottles or anything at any of that stuff. The sideshows, that's another story. But that seems to work. But we're limited. The fact that, calling every agency on the west end of the county, that's, up until a couple years ago, I've never seen that before, especially in Richmond.
Well, my thing is just to have more drones out to locate and to identify.
Yeah, and then
More drones out.
we're limited with that as far as officers and officers that can operate those.
Okay.
Okay, that was very appreciated, because we used the police coming out using force first.
Mhm.
So it was very appreciated how y'all control the environment.
So you mentioned that you knew of some that are coming up too.
Correct. Yes, there's one in Parchester Village this weekend on Saturday, I believe, and then, the Pullman Townhouses over on Carlson, they'll have theirs, I'm sure, within the next.
So there's a management over there knows that they're coming, that's gonna.
I'm
They,
assuming they do.
what can they do just in that regard?
I mean, at least in the Pullman Townhouses, they have that security gate, but once it's open,
Yeah.
there's one way in, one way out over there, so. And then I heard one in Vallejo that has to do with Richmond, so they can just stick in Vallejo.
It's a wonder. They gotta open the gate, close the gate, open.
Yeah, and that's if the gate's working, because in the past, it's been broken and we've reached out to them, they fixed it, and then,
Have y'all, talked to any of the North Oakland coordinators, because it would really be great for folks to hear the founding reason why they sprung. It really was because of the 3-on-3 tournaments they used to have here in North Richmond, and it was a really nice community event. Now, it did turn into a lot, but it would be great to have maybe one of their coordinators or someone who's in charge of these events to come and speak about the historical reasons why they came to North Richmond.
and I know there was an overall theme for this year's, a memorial for T-Bone. And I'm assuming it started out good, but once people start drinking and the sun goes down and everyone starts showing up, unfortunately, the way things go.
Thank you. Any more questions? Thank you for your time.
No problem. You guys have a good evening.
Okay, we're gonna move on to number 5. And that's the land solar permit.
Can I see someone online, Angela?
Hi, yes, I'm Angela Kwok, Director of Business Operations for Planted Solar, and representing here tonight for application CDD P2603013. And let me actually start sharing my screen to give a little bit more background. Great. Okay. Are you able to see the slides?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I'll provide a little bit of background about Planted. So we are a solar deployment company, and part of what's unique about Planted is that we have a unique kind of solar array design that uses less land, is lower to the ground, as well as requires no civil site work. Our application is for a location where there's an unincorporated plot. It's in an industrial area. And kind of all of this is for just a temporary solar array that's used for testing and visual demonstration purposes only. It's not energized or connected to the grid.
Angela, can you hear us?
Oh, yes, I can hear.
Okay, we're gonna stop for a minute. We didn't do the minutes. Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna approve the minutes and the agenda real quick.
Oh, okay, sure.
Apologies. Thank you for your patience.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, here we go. So, we're gonna back up and, get a motion to approve the agenda and also the minutes. I will open up for that if folks are comfortable or if you need some time, that's fine with me.
Motion to approve the last board meeting minutes
And we put the agenda with that too, as a,
and board agenda.
is there a second?
And fourth second with the corrections, the necessary corrections.
That's fine. Okay, all in favor, let me by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, carries. We'll move back to the presentation.
All right, thank you. Sorry. Yeah, the audio close to the speaker is very clear, but unfortunately a little harder to hear for further folks. So definitely please interrupt me as you have questions. So yeah, kind of overall, the project for kind of associated with this application is just a temporary solar array. To give a little bit more detail about the plot of land. And no, actually, sorry, I had stopped sharing for a moment. Let me go back to that. And so yeah, this is the plot of land. It's in an industrial area, kind of neighboring Bay Cities, refuse services, green waste recycle yard, kind of a bare plot of land. And what our application is for is to build a small temporary solar array. Yeah, again, for testing and visual demo purposes. To give you a sense of kind of what that looks like, it is an array like this. It's a kind of ground mount array. Again, kind of part of what our value proposition is in general for solar is it's low to the ground. It uses less land. It does not disturb the land. Kind of you can see all the kind of maintained vegetation underneath. So ultimately, once we are done with our visual and demo for this, which we expect kind of to be coincident with the termination of our lease in about potentially 2 years or so, kind of everything would be restored to as is condition on the land. And this is the site plan that we've submitted in association with the application. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Why are y'all, just doing this test? If you're not gonna be using it or doing anything, like, what is the purpose of doing this demonstration out there?
Yeah, part of the testing is for our internal use, kind of to make sure as we make iterations on some of the components of our arrays. So kind of yeah, think these like posts that are similar to like fence posts, and kind of what we actually have is a like a custom part that we make to attach the solar panels. So as we work on new iterations of them, kind of we'll actually want to test them out kind of in a demo array. And then the second case is actually kind of for visual purposes where we'll bring prospective customers to including actually again the owner for this plot of land to show them kind of visually what it looks like.
Okay, so so are you guys, leasing the land from the owner?
Correct. Yeah, so the
Um,
owner is Par Acres. They actually did have a representative join the last meeting as well, but unfortunately wasn't able to make this one.
Perfect, and then, were there any like reports shared from the owner about, kind of like the land and the soil and why nothing be built on that land?
They're fully aware of kind of our use case for the land. Um, I don't I would have to check with others on our team or the landowner whether they've shared more specific reports regarding the soil. Yeah, kind of our knowledge is like it was previously, again, yeah, more industrial site. So I think we've encountered some like kind of scrap metal on site, but otherwise a pretty bare plot of land.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have a few questions and then I'm gonna pass it over to the chair. With this solar, with these, solar panels, and it says temporary,
Yep.
temporary lease. What is that temporary, what is that timeline? I mean, is that temporary, is it gonna be, 3 months, 6 months, it's gonna be a year? What is the timeline for this testing?
Yeah, so up to our lease expiration, we don't expect to extend beyond lease. So I believe there is, I want to say, sorry, I'm just looking back at some notes. I believe, yeah, we have 1 to 2 years remaining on the lease for this plot of land.
Okay, 1 to 2 years, and to determine what is the catalyst, what are they looking for, really looking for with the solar? Are you looking for the state of energy, the energy that it can pull in order to house so many residents, so many buildings? Are you gonna keep that information here? Are you testing this information and sending it across country? What is the purpose of it?
Yeah, so overall for planted solar, our goal is to be able to deploy solar energy faster and at a lower cost. Typically, kind of more in the context of community solar power plants or even up to utility scale solar power plants. Yeah, and then this is again, yeah, kind of just for testing and like a small scale visual demo purposes. But yeah, overall, as in terms of our company goal is to deploy solar power plants for community scale and utility scale solar.
Okay, so you say community scale, but once you do that and doing it here, are you coming back? Is the purpose to come back and to offer and to look for the community to look into the jobs or to be a part of this, future, I guess this future plan that you have in place where are you just using this ground to do your tests and then run away and not come back?
So yeah, our company is based in Oakland. Our headquarters is in Oakland. Our projects are located throughout the US. So it's kind of dependent actually on where the solar developers we work with develop projects. And yeah, in terms of, yeah, for this plot of land, a big part of the motivation is it is close to our headquarters in Oakland, for the testing and demo purposes.
And we will be having some type of feedback on the environment, displacement on the environment from your analysis, or you will be coming back during this time if we were to do the testing there. You'll be coming back to let us know if there's any impact on our creek, if there's any impact on our environment, if there's any impact on our, in our airways. This information will be part of your study. This is a study, correct? I have on this. A study together. No.
Sorry, I don't think I caught the latter comments.
There's a question.
Hi, I have a question. Can you give us like, I'm having a little issue. You gave us kind of like more pictures than like background information on your company and like, what is like really the purpose of this over here? And like, you guys just paying the owners? Are you paying like the county too? Or what's really going on? This is, no offense, this is kind of like generic a little bit, just giving us this little information. I kind of want us to have more information. Because the questions the other board members are asking are great, But I just feel like you guys need to give us a little bit more background on the company and what's really going on.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
business purposes. Cause it's just a
yeah.
lot of pictures, I understand. But, I just feel like we need a little bit more business, like what's really going on, like the agreement or the contract that you have with the property owner and just things like that.
Got
And
it. Yeah, so in the context of kind of working with Par Acres as the owner for this plot of land for testing and demo purposes, kind of more background on agreement with the owner for this plot of land, or background on Planted Solar as an entity.
now I just want, a little bit more information. This just seems a little generic, that's all. Like, do you guys, like the contract or the agreement with the property owner? If that's like public information, we can see that to see what's really going on, because they ask good questions that I feel like we should already know, and you guys should already put on the slide, like, hey, this is the lease for this amount of time for the solar panels, it's for this purposes, but I'm just saying what you're showing us now is just kind of like generic.
Yep,
I-
yeah, yep. I'd very much focused it on just kind of the context of this application. But yeah, happy to share more information about the lease agreement with the owner. Yeah, unfortunately, again, they weren't able to join. Otherwise, I imagine that would have also been helpful for them to be on this call. I'm trying to see if there's any quick information I could pull up that would be helpful. Otherwise, happy to also return at a future meeting to share more of that background.
Yeah, do you know what the lease agreement, what the amount of money is for the lease?
The lease, I unfortunately don't have it open in front of me.
So the energy that you're going to generate,
Oh, so to be clear, we're not generating any energy on this. Like, so none of the solar panels are going to be energized. This is, yeah, purely like leasing this plot of land with the owner. There is no energy to be generated. It is purely, yeah, kind of leasing this plot of land with
so it's
them.
just, you just storing them there?
Sorry, what was that?
Storing them there, just to have them be there?
Yeah, correct. It is just that they will be installed, won't be energized. Yeah, this is not, again, yeah, this is not actually like I would call like one of our solar projects to be deployed, where it's generating energy. It
It's
is,
not gonna
yeah,
be looked at?
it is not going to be connected to the grid. It is not,
So
none of it's energized. It's just for visual purposes.
it's just to be there for like a storage yard or something like that, is that right?
Not, uh, I guess storage in the sense that, yeah, it is not energized. Yeah, it's not to function as a solar array. It is more for visually like, okay, this is what a solar array with planted would look like.
And that takes 2 years to, to look at it?
So it's more of, yeah, serving as our ongoing test site, kind of as we make adjustments to our design, to be able to test that out in a kind of more
The
so
com-
than just in our office.
The company that is doing this, is that what they do for all over the place? They do what they're doing here, or do they have other things they do?
Oh, for the owner is, they're just a landowner.
The property, the
The-
leaseor, what does the leaseor do?
So they are just my understanding is, yeah, they're just the owner of this plot of land. Their business is not related to solar. Kind of, we were looking for a plot of land close to our Oakland facility and found that this
Their
was,
own utility do.
sorry, I didn't quite
Their
catch that.
own facility do. What does your Oakland facility do?
Our Oakland facility is our office. That's where our employees work. And so, yeah, in terms of,
What is your Oakland business? What is the business? What do they do? That's their site where they are, that's their office, but what do they do?
what does Planted Solar do?
Yes.
Yeah, so we deploy solar projects over the kind of at different locations over the US. For example, including Illinois, Tennessee, currently doing a project in Arkansas where it is larger scale than this, and to actually be energized and
This is the
generate.
same project you're doing here. What other like projects are you doing that you're doing here? Or that's what you're telling me you do?
Wait, sorry, our business is building these solar power plants, but in this case, for this application, this is just a test and demo site
I don't know what
where
you're
the
testing.
solar is not energized.
I don't know what you're testing. I have no idea what you're testing. I just, I don't know.
It sounds like that y'all are using this site from the owner to see if this would be a good site for y'all to do like maybe a solar plant or something. So you're seeing if you can demonstrate, this use to the owner? Is that what this is about, or is it more to the purpose? Because when I read it, it said site demonstration.
Right, yeah, that's a great clarification. It is not to use this site as a location for a solar power plant or solar array, kind of solar array that generates energy. This is more as an extension of kind of like our let's call it kind of like internal use for testing purposes, as well as demonstrating like visually what this array looks like, given that our location in Oakland is purely like is our office facility where we don't have a field to be able to demonstrate this.
Was there a specific reason why y'all chose this site here?
Yeah, a big part of it is proximity to our headquarters in Oakland, and then this also being a bare plot of land in an industrial area. Yeah, those were the primary criteria.
There's a question.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, okay. Well, I have a couple of questions, it's in the area of wetlands. So I had a question about that, but, I see that, the CEO, usually pairs the solar with batteries and gas for firm power, so is this test site a one-off or a foothold for a larger future use here?
In terms of this site, it is just going to be limited to temporary demonstration purposes and not would not be an actual generating like solar generating array, as that would definitely have its own procedures. Yeah, that is not the intent of the site. This is just purely visual testing and demonstration purposes.
Okay, so has this gone before the Army Corps of Engineers, because it is a wetland delineation?
Sorry, what was that?
Because it's in a wetland delineation, so
Mm-hmm.
has this
Yeah.
has it gone before the Army Corps of Engineers?
So we did in working with the planner, kind of associated with this application. Yeah, we did note that there is a resource conservation area. So we have kept the plan for where this array is to be built outside of that resource conservation area. And I believe, yeah, kind of,
Okay, and this is an unstaffed site, so is there, had you proposed like fencing or signage or monitoring?
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, so there would be, yeah. So yeah, we have noticed the resource conservation area boundary, the creek easement. There is an existing road already to the site, and then there would be a temporary fence.
Okay, and I saw that we had a public comment from one of our local organizations. And so I think, we wanted to make sure that you answered those questions also, but I'll give it back to the chair.
Yeah, we will have, there was a letter written to us with a bunch of questions on it. We will ask that you respond to those questions. We will make sure you get it. I don't know, is this an action item? This an action item?
Yeah.
So. So.
Not sure, but they have scheduled a whole conversation as well. Their needs.
Okay, there's a lot of still questions that you've heard. And I don't know that taking the action would be right at this time. But if you can respond to the questions that we had that came from, Community for a Better Environment, we'll make sure you get a copy of those questions that they had. And some of the questions that we gave, from this meeting, maybe you can come back and give us a little more clarity on exactly what's going on over there. It'd be appreciated.
Yeah.
And we can see if we get you on the next agenda. September. Is that okay with the board?
Yes.
That would be the action that we take tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Gonna move to item number 7. And that is community updates. And we're gonna start with Tommy.
We're missing one more person.
Oh, one more, I'll say. Why am I reading this now? Okay, one more. I'm sorry. AC Transit keeping East Bay moving. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair Gilmore and the board, North Richmond MAC. My name is Harpreet Sandhu. I represent Ward 1. I represent you on the board, which encompasses Albany, El Cerrito, Richmond, North Richmond, unincorporated areas, and San Pablo along with that. Also along with me is Ryan and Howard, who will be making a presentation on AZ Transit. As you know that AC is essential, as you said, moving people along, essential part of the community. So I just want to talk about AC itself. The AC stands for Alameda Contra Costa, and it's an agency of the East Bay cities. So it has 13 cities and over 8 different unincorporated communities within the area. We span over 364 miles and carry more than 3 million people, riders each month, and are governed by a public elected board of directors. So it's one of the only 3 or 4 agencies that are actually 3 in the whole country that are actually elected. The rest are, if you're a city council, they put you on a transit agency. There are a couple of facts about AC Transit. 3 out of 4 riders are people of color, and nearly 2/3 are low income, making AC Transit an essential lifeline for all those communities we serve. It's also why we've been around for 65 years, and we are strategically operated within the facilities within our districts, which has sites in Oakland, Emeryville, Hayward, and one in Richmond you may have seen on McDonald Avenue, and keeping buses close to the community that we serve. We're proud that we have, as a community, had an outstanding, sorry. Could we move I apologize, I didn't pay attention to that. There we go. Thank you. So it's also why we had received outstanding public transportation awards from in the United States in 2023. So with that, I'll leave it up to Ryan and Howard to give you a lot of facts, which they don't trust me to give to you because I make mistakes.
So one correction to that last statement. No, this was in the talking point. So it's the outstanding public transportation system, but it's for North America, not just the US. So I just wanted to, because, so next slide, please. So being well, I want to make, well, okay.
Yeah, that's.
Sorry. So being a top tier transit agency translates into delivering 40 million rides a year. And to unpack that number, that is 140,000 riders every single weekday and over 160 riders every single weekend. That also means 9,500 riders that ride our Transbase service every single weekday, which is the critical service that provides, the trip over the bridge from the East Bay into critical job centers in San Francisco. We also are the East Bay's school bus. We transport. This says 30,000 students every single weekday. We just found out new numbers that we can't say publicly, but it's significantly more than that. So a lot of, K through 12 vocational students and university students every single day. And, the riders definitely recognize that value, which is why February, March, and April represents our first 3-month year-over-year improvement since the pandemic. Next slide, please. And so we're also a workforce first employer. And so what that means is that we support over 5,100 jobs across the East Bay. Most of those are actually outside of our agency. So we have roughly 2,200 employees, but we actually generate more jobs outside just because of our investment in the community. And those jobs actually generate $604 million of wages every single year. And then additionally, local sales through our economic investments clock in at $1 billion every year. And so every single bus that we operate creates jobs, supports local businesses, and strengthens our communities. Next slide, please. So beyond just fueling the East Bay economy, we're also cleaning the air. We've operated zero-emission buses for over a quarter of a century. Currently, we are operating 58 zero-emission buses that eliminate tailpipe emissions from our streets, which has earned us a $40 million investment, federal investment, not from this administration, but an administration that cares about environmental issues, to deploy the industry's first zero-emission bus university, which is a partnership between AC Transit, Chapeau College, and our local union, the Amalgamated Transit Union, Local 192. And ZEBU will help our employees earn an associate's degree. So they'll earn basically half an associate's degree by going through this apprenticeship program, but also learning clean transit, developing the clean transit workforce of tomorrow. Next slide, please. And so our riders recognize the value because we're making transit more affordable, faster, and safer. So our Easy Pass program provides unlimited rides at deep discounts for participating employers, colleges, and communities. So as you can see here, through that program, we deliver 4.7 million rides every single year. Our Clipper Start program gives income-eligible adults half off every single ride. We've also redesigned 104 bus lines last summer under our Realign network. And additionally, smart cameras mounted on the inside of our buses help keep bus lanes and bus stops clear, improving safety and reliability. As you may have seen, like if somebody's using a mobility device like a walker or a wheelchair, if you can't get to the curb and deploy the ramp, then they're sort of hazarding that getting on the bus and disembarking. Next slide, please. As Director Sandhu mentioned, 3 out of 4 of our riders are people of color and 2/3 are low income. But let's put that into perspective. More than half earn $50,000 a year, which is below the federal poverty line in a community that is one of the most expensive in the country. And many are already struggling to afford essentials like housing and transportation. Which helps explain why the full 65% of our riders are transit dependent, meaning that they don't have a functional vehicle in their household at all, so they fully rely on public transit, including AC transit. So, a cut to service would not just be a simple inconvenience, it would upend their lives. They wouldn't be able to get to doctor's appointments, schools, jobs, etc. Next slide, please. And you often hear the term good stewards of public dollars. And simply put, that means we make the most out of every single taxpayer dollar that we spend. And we know that every fare that goes unpaid doesn't just disappear. It's a cost that we basically have to bear, which is why we launched just this month the multilingual fare required compliance campaign. Additionally, we received the report from comprehensive California state audit review, which basically said that we cooperate very well with other East Bay Transit bus services, so that it's more of a seamless system. And so our collective challenges are real, and they're sustainable funding, they're not mismanagement. Additionally, we had a review that basically said that we saved $33 million annually every single year since 2020, which is why we earned a AA+ credit rating. Next slide, please. And so when the cost of running our bus network rises faster than the revenue supporting it, it creates a fiscal cliff. So what's behind that? The federal pandemic relief is gone. It was here for a limited time. It was just to keep us afloat during the pandemic. But as you see, we spent that. Regional sales tax revenue has flattened. Fare revenue growth has slowed. At the same time, as you've seen at the pump, fuel costs have gone up by 28%. Bus maintenance parts have increased by 14%, and the cost of buying buses has surged 35%. So not just diesel buses, but all the buses, and we have a state mandate to go zero emission. And while a diesel bus is something like $750,000, a battery electric bus is $1.2 million, and a fuel cell bus is something like $1.5 million. So that's like almost a full 200% of a regular bus. And so you can see it's lopsided and unsustainable. Next slide, please. And so we're not sitting idly by. Instead, we're taking action. And just this last fiscal year, we've tightened our belt by $9 million. So how did we do that? We are only hiring for positions that directly support our service. We've scaled back on temporary staffing, saving roughly $2 million annually. We've brought outside professional services in-house. We've partnered with other agencies to purchase goods and services for cheaper. We've also even temporarily restructured payments to our pension plan to preserve cash. So we are, in fact, making every single taxpayer dollar count. Next slide. And so every single dollar must count because we are currently facing a $200 million 4-year projected deficit. And that translates into roughly $50 million a year beginning in 2027. So without long-term sustainable funding, service reductions of up to 16% will become unavoidable. And so will the human impact, because we're looking at potential layoffs that will affect up to 300 employees. So that's a fair chunk of people. So you can see that, it's not just a service crisis, it's a workforce and community crisis as well. Next slide, please. And so we have been thrown a lifeline, but it's not a permanent solution. It's a state bridge loan, which is exactly that. It's not a bailout, it's a loan, and it must be repaid with interest. So AC Transit's share is $55 million. It's just enough to close this year's budget gap and avoid service cuts and layoffs. But next summer, the loan is gone, reserves are exhausted, and the funding challenge returns. Which is why right now the hope rests with the Connect Bay Area Act, or SB 63, or otherwise known as the Regional Transit Measure. The measure would ask voters in 5 Bay Area counties to approve a 14-year half-cent sales tax for 1 cent in San Francisco, including Contra Costa and Alameda counties. If approved, it would generate an estimated $980 million annually for Bay Area buses, trains, and ferries. Which AC Transit would receive approximately $52 million a year, helping protect our existing bus service and prevent layoffs. So again, without long-term funding, our bus network remains at risk. And just to show exactly what that might look like on the ground, I'm going to call Howard up here to tell you how this is going to affect service.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Howard Durr, Senior Transportation Planner at AC Transit. Now, in these uncertain financial times, as Ryan was describing, our approach is simple. We plan for the worst and we hope for the best. So with that in mind, we've developed what's called a contingency service plan for worst case scenario. And it's just that. It's a contingency and would only take effect if no new long-term funding is secured by December 2026. And if that happens, our priority is to protect as much service as possible. The contingency service plan preserves the realigned network that was implemented back in August, that we implemented back in August. And the guiding principles for the contingency service plan are clear. We minimize route eliminations, we protect the hours of service, and we maintain frequent bus service where people depend on the most. Next, please. The proposed contingency service plan is designed to protect the most service for the greatest number of riders. Its priority is to preserve the backbone of the East Bay, or what we call the primary route network. To achieve that, service reductions are focused on where ridership is lowest, trying to minimize impacts on the greatest number of riders. The busiest bus lines and major travel corridors remain the highest priority. Now, weekday service every 15 minutes or better is preserved on key corridors, including San Pablo, Telegraph, Broadway, and International. Where reductions are necessary, the plan reduces frequency to every 30 minutes rather than just eliminating service altogether. Most routes would continue operating daily from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., maintaining the access for work, school, healthcare, and other essential trips. The strategy protects late evening service, so riders still have a reliable way to get home. Now, more than 90% of the backbone network remains intact under the proposed plan. Now, for West Contra Costa County, under this plan, our goal is to preserve our primary network, which are our highest ridership routes. For example, the 7272M would continue operating on a combined 15-minute, every 15 minutes or better on weekdays. Most other routes would continue operating from 6 to 10 p.m., with most buses arriving every 30 to 40 minutes on weekdays. Some routes may be reduced to every 60 minutes on weekends. Next, please. For Transbay service, peak period trips will be reduced for most Transbay routes. For West County specifically, that would be the line L. Next slide, please. And on weekends, Line 70 would be shortened to end at Richmond BART rather than ending at El Cerrito del Norte BART. But people could still take line 76 along Cutting Boulevard on weekends to get to El Cerrito del Norte BART. Next, please. So this is a timeline of where we're at and where we're going to be. The critical thing is that the board is going to set the public hearing tomorrow. We'll have a workshop available in the lobby of our general office downtown Oakland, where you can ask planning staff and others questions about the plan. November 3 is probably the critical date. That's the general election when the electorate will decide whether the connected area passes or not. And depending on what happens after that, if we need to implement the contingency service plan, we have a set of board meetings set to include approval of the plan and implementation of the plan. If necessary, is scheduled for June 13th of 2027. Ryan, I'll turn it back to you at this point, or actually Director Sandu.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Ryan. Next, please. So, if you please, use our QR code to learn more about our proposed contingency plan, or you can also go on the email and have your questions on planning at actransit.org, or visit our www.actransit.org/contingency plan. I'm sure you got a lot of questions, and we're here to help answer any that you have.
Questions from the audience or online?
Thank y'all so much for giving this presentation. This is a lot of good information that the community needs, and thank y'all for coming to North Richmond as well. I'm really excited about the Zebu College. Like, sounds so amazing, and I wonder how we can like prioritize North Richmond or get some folks from North Richmond into that program as well. And I just have a couple of questions for tonight. One, the way that you guys have the data for the riders, how you have like 65% low income and 75% people of color, can we get that data as well through your employees, or is that not possible? Like, what is your, however many employees that you employ, how many of them are people of color? How many of them are, do y'all have any data on that, or?
Yeah, we actually have it prepared. I think we pull it together in April. We can provide that.
Sounds great. Yeah, I would love to know that information. And then for the operations, I've seen on the slide that y'all are bringing in 1 billion. Is there any net in that operation? Like, is there any surplus in the 1 billion that you're receiving?
Oh, it's not coming to us. It's what our economic activity generates in the East Bay.
Okay.
So just because, our operators are buying stuff, or, we're transporting people to commercial districts and they're making purchases there. So the sort of overall benefit to the region is $1 billion in local sales.
All right, guys, thank you so much. And then where do y'all order the parts in the buses? I know you said that it's really, really expensive for them. So are they being ordered over from overseas or something?
Take that if you want. There's two major bus manufacturers for North America. The first being Gillig, which is right out in Livermore, so it doesn't cost that much for them to ship it over. The other is New Flyer of America, and they have an assembly plant in Minnesota or Wisconsin. It's one of those two. So our buses are coming from North America, in some cases from the Bay Area. The other parts that go into us, Gillig and New Flyer do what's called, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, basically systems integration. So they'll build like the frame, suspension and so forth, but then the other components, the engine, the transmission, the farebox, they come from other manufacturers. could be Cummins for the engine, Allison or, I forget the name. Allison for the transmission. Fareboxes can come from a company like Cubic and so forth. So there's a lot of different suppliers that go into the bus. It's not just Gillig or Blue Fire making it.
No, that's really good to know. Thank you for that. And I just have like one last question. It seems like the deficit is coming so sudden. And so I'm wondering, like, is there a plan that y'all are strategizing around now that goes past 2031? Is there a long-term plan that you guys are thinking about? Because you're gonna reach a deficit, right? And so you guys are gonna try to do things to, fill this gap. But I'm wondering, are you guys, because it seems so sudden that you're gonna hit this deficit within the next 2 to 3 years. Are you thinking past this 7-year mark? 2031.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Yes, we are, but just keep in mind that, what has happened is that, just to put it in perspective, AC Transit, the fare box, what the person pays, for the budget that we have, it's only 6 to 8%. The rest is all federal, state funding altogether. So we, as to the public, it's only 6 to 8% that we receive from money. The rest is a lot of the fundings. As Ryan had mentioned, even the millions that we received in the previous administration, the surface transportation bill that's coming from Congress, they have slashed money for transportation. Literally, people who really need to take the buses out. They've taken away monies to the green, for the green buses that we're trying to buy. So the budget cut has come lot from federal and state side. The state gets it, they too get it from federal, so that's the problem we're getting. So yes, we're having to, with the estimation of having a deficit of anywhere $50 million every year, which is why we're looking to be able to sustain that. If we don't, if the measure doesn't pay, it's going to be another 16% cut, losing about 300 jobs and also affecting paratransit, which we serve about 1,500 people, which was mentioned on the data thereabouts. But that's on the paratransit, but it will be effective to cut the budget to be able to maintain the $50 million average cuts.
Yeah, I've seen the plans for it to like kind of lessen you guys' workload and stuff, so I do also like that plan. I was gonna ask about the 76, but I see it still being ran on the weekends, just at later time, so thank you for that.
And as you've heard in Transportation 5, it's gonna be cutting hours. We're gonna make sure that the buses, if you do right part, then they're gonna be starting at 10. So that the buses are there after that, so it's not like the buses go on the park, you get up, there's no transportation. So our buses will run after the last part that comes through. And as you also said, the cuts, the $50 million that we received from the $52 million from the governors, will allow us to go up to June of next year, which we have to pay back in 12 years. So we're sustaining that, and based on what will happen in November election, we will have to move forward after that.
Is there a plan to repay that in 12 years?
It has to be paid.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned the 192 and an apprenticeship. How do you advertise that, and like what ages does that start at?
It's not up and running yet. So we got the money. We are supposed to break ground later this year. So we still have to develop the campus and all that. So it's basically upgrading our current training and education center. And they do a lot of that stuff already. They upskill. So we just graduated our first batch of journey level mechanics that came in as service workers. So service workers are the people that fuel the buses, clean the buses, and that sort of thing. They don't have any advanced training, but we take those people and we train them all the way up, so they become mechanic helpers and sort of like look over the shoulder of a journey level mechanic and help them, run tools to them, that sort of thing. And then they I forget what the next step is, but basically it's they call it a career ladder. So they come in, like, you know, maybe just out of high school or something like that with some, you know, basic skills to fuel and clean the bus. And we bring them up to journey level mechanic, level. And so the Zero Emission Bus University is basically a way to expand that. It also integrates like augmented reality, so you can work on high voltage systems without potentially injuring yourself. So we're really looking to beef up that training program, but it hasn't been built yet.
Okay, so, is that something, do you advertise? You said from high school, so is that something that's advertised here, like in Richmond High School?
I think the long-term vision, once we actually get the campus developed, is working with community-based organizations, because the community-based organizations are the ones that know your populations, know who to tap, those sorts of things, and really pull people from the community into getting these really great sort of green tech jobs. So.
If I may add to your question, you remember, we make sure that we have events, we were Juneteenth and other events, that we make sure we let people know, and this comes to your question as to how we can apply for this job. It's open all across, and we make sure that we're within the community, letting the people know that we are hiring. And of course, on our website is also the application process there as well.
Okay. Let's see. Well, you know, you were mentioning all these great numbers, and then you got to the end, because you were saying you're saving 33 million, and you saved 9 million, and so, and then yeah, so I guess my last question is, you mentioned that this would be on the ballot, in 5 counties. So why not 9 counties? Isn't there like 9 there?
It's subjected to those counties if they won't participate in it, basically. And there's some of them are very small transit agencies, and they may have not applied for it. But
Well,
it's basically up to the.
Also, I think a lot of those counties are just, let's just call it anti-tax, and so they're not willing to pay for the services that they receive, or maybe transit is just not that important to them because they just solely rely on their private autos. So it was an opt-in, like we can't force them to participate. So each county has to basically opt in. Ideally, that would have been, you know, the best scenario, just float it as wide as we can so that, you know, you have stability in a lot of ways. But like I said, they have to opt in, so.
I think it's on. Is it? Okay. Thank you for the presentation. So far, I just have a couple of questions to ask you all. And it's going back to the slide 22, where it's marked as the national leader in clean transit. So my question to you all, it says that it's 58 zero emission buses. What's going to happen? And looking at the scenario, I know we need more money in order to offset this budget deficit. But how is the zero emission buses, how are they faring? Are they making a difference in the budget? You know, right now, are you showing any grade of showing between the guzzlers of the buses? All the buses aren't zero at now, but are you seeing any trade-off that the zero emission is really doing what it needs to do and it's saving money? I'm making money.
I'm not sure making money is the problem.
Well, making money for the organization. Yes, is it a good, I mean, you know, is it showing that it's outweighing, you know, we've made these changes, and how are they faring with the budget? You know, will you be looking at to continue to delete these gas guzzlers and continue with the zero for the clean transit?
So absolutely it's making a difference I mean, it's zero. Even though even our diesel buses, they've changed much more than it used to be. Just makes a huge impact. I know where you're coming from in terms of the wastewater,
Yes,
the hydrogen.
right.
And some of our hydrogen buses are also part of the whole factor. And we're trying to make sure that happens, but this administration has cut all the funding. And AC has more buses that are at zero emission than anyone in the whole country. We are the leader, and a lot of people come to this agency to look at how we run things and how we run, even at the zero and so forth. It has made an impact, it will make an impact. The funding is all gone from this administration.
Wow.
And we were even looking at our hydrogen, which you know very.
Right, yeah, that's right.
Raven and everything else, we have to get it from Arizona or from LA, and that comes up through Arizona and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, the hydrogen industry is not as developed as we would like it. Like, the Department of Energy was supposed to make this huge investment, $1.2 billion. And this administration erased it from California. So that would have made a huge, so the idea was to really bring, so right now it's something like $9 a kilogram, which is the equivalent of like a gallon of diesel. The idea was to bring it down to 1, which would have made a huge difference, and it would have actually created some kind of widespread adoption of that technology. The biggest problem that we find now is that zero emission technology isn't everywhere. If it's everywhere, then it gets cheaper. So it's sort of like a boutique kind of bus now, which is why I said, you know, the battery electric buses are something like $1.2 million a piece, and fuel cell buses are $1.5 million a piece. So, you know, I'm not sure that the point for us is that it saves operating costs. It's to ensure that our communities are healthier and safer. And you know, that this is the trajectory of the state, at least, if it's not the priority of this administration. So we want to be on board for the future, not for the past.
And there was something else, and I just got my paper, and see if I can do it from memory. I know for each one of the, you said it's 5, it's a total of 5.
5 counties? Yeah.
5 counties, and one was San Mateo, San Francisco, you ran all
Costa.
Yeah, I had it all in front of me, but now I'm going off the memory now. But I know, I feel that San Francisco is at 1%, when everybody else is at 0.0, you know, 0.5, you know, and the transit that's up in San Francisco, and it's less riders, I mean, just from your data, and looking at these other, say, you know, looking at these other counties, and looking at its ridership. It's lesser riders over in San Francisco than we're asking what the percentage for the buy-in, we're looking at, you know, we're looking at this bond.
Keep in mind, we go from Richmond all the way to Fremont, the whole of the bay.
300 and it was something like 364 miles, 364 miles for travel. Okay. So by looking at that, and I'm just looking at how balanced will this be once it goes on in November to be voted on, you know, who will be more or less charged more for this bond out of these 5 counties. That's what I was looking at. How are you determining these percentages for each county? That's the point.
Right, they have broken down every to the dollar for what each will get if the bond passes. But San Francisco is also putting 1% tax, whereas ours is 0.5%. So they're choosing to do a higher for themselves.
Okay.
So
For themselves.
if I understood the question correctly, so it's not like they pay in 1% and it goes into a general pot. It goes back to San Francisco Transit. So it's basically return to source. So
Just like San Mateo, go back into San Mateo.
yeah.
And
So it's not like they're like San Francisco's paying $1 in and we're paying 50 cents and we're gonna get 75 cents. It would be nice, but that's not how it works.
Okay, that's what I thought. I had to get it, but thank you, Jen.
Well, on that same note, so the counties that didn't opt in, so they don't get nothing out of it. Like that.
No.
That's not good.
They will not.
Oh. The other question I had was, we have a resource center here, and you know, we would like to be able to take advantage of you know, mapping out a path for our folks, and so we would really encourage you to work with them to have a more direct pipeline to, the opportunities that are created, by AC Transit.
With respect to the Zero Emission Bus University or?
Oh, I'm not, that dude.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, and, so we have a resource center that we look for opportunities like that for folks in the community. The other thing, I think you asked a question, that I want to be sure it was asked, and that is, what is the, makeup of your workforce on where they reside? I don't know if you have that data.
where they reside, I can pull that, so I can give the demographic along with, I will say, because of the cost of the area, it is far and wide. We have people coming from Discovery Bay, Sacramento, Stockton, so.
Well, I know, well, that's kind of what I'm getting at, so.
I just want to add one more thing. I know it's on the side, we talked about paratransit, it's important, but we really make sure that, so wherever there's a spot, you get about 3/4 of a mile radius to where the site is. So for the paratransit, another one of those things that is federally mandated, but it's not funded. So we are so proud to be able to do that. And the way that it splits up is 69% of the paratransit has been coming from car, and 69 out of AC and 30% thereabouts from car. Now, just to put that in perspective, an average, right now, the average cost per ride is $134. If you have a lift or something per ride for paratransit. So I'm just saying that more people use it, it actually helps us. But I know a lot of cities are providing other services, but just keeping in mind that Richmond has many different ways to get around now. But keep in mind that paratransit is something that we are proud to make sure we provide, but it's quite a bit of expense. It's almost like $134 a ride.
Wow.
Again, correct me, because there were numbers sometimes, anywhere.
I don't know the per ride trip, but it's incredibly expensive because it's a, that person has to load them up, they have to unload them, they have to be directly at the site. It's not like the person's gonna wheel themselves to their location. They have to be right there. They can't leave their vehicle out of their site. So it's just an incredibly expensive service.
There'll be a certain development, this, but it's, Alex says, you're proud that we provided, but keep that in mind. The government doesn't pay us for that. It means through fundings and other sources.
We can't do surge pricing like the lecturers.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Thank you for your presentation. I did hear this presentation, but today I think it was more informative, great questions from the board. I'm just looking at your schedule and, tomorrow will be like kind of short notice for most people to come and see the public hearing, but will there be like an online link or somehow anyone could tap in to get like even a summary of what was said? Either the, any of these dates or these public hearings that you will present?
I think tomorrow people give their input, we will probably hear back from that to the board, hopefully.
Yeah, so the link for the feed is online, but it's actually, I think, just opening up the public hearing. And it runs till October 14th. So it's a full month. And everything collected before now is going to be rolled into that. It's just going to be a massive volume of feedback that we've gotten over because we're doing these everywhere. And we're doing events and all that sort of stuff. So we're trying to get as much feedback from the community as possible because we don't want to just do something and then find out we did it completely wrong.
Thank you for that. I think.
And we can take our feedback several different ways. I mean, you don't have to attend tomorrow's meeting. You can submit your comments online, by phone, by email, what have you.
Yeah, I think all the methods are in the packet at the end. So.
Okay. Social media, we can tag you and ask questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we have a whole team that staffs the social media channels too.
That's good to know. And thank you for that transparency from the agency, for taking in the community feedback and just sharing this information. We hope that in the future, when there's plans of budgets and assessing lines to preserve, especially the ones here in North Richmond, because we do not benefit from packets and benefits from the city of Richmond because of the county. So any way that we can help and receive resources or information to share with our community,
will be a great benefit to us and we'll be happy to share because our community can sometimes be overlooked. It is a county, it isn't incorporated, it doesn't benefit all the time from the city of Richmond. So whatever we can share with our neighbors, our communities and the greater Contra Costa County, we'll be happy to share.
Appreciate that. That's why we're here. We don't want to take it for granted.
There's another question.
I'm curious how, or who one would talk to about having AC Transit come and participate in an event. How do they create it?
All right, Captain, next. All right, thank you. We're gonna move on our agenda item to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. I am Beatriz Portillo. I'm with the Office of Emergency Services. My name is Leslie Monroy. I am with the Community Development Center. So today we're going to talk about two things. One is our emergency operations plan, and then the other thing we're going to talk personal preparedness. So we could go actually 2 slides forward. Thank you. So our emergency operations plan is the plan that sets the framework for how the county is going to respond to a disaster. So this is where the county gets together with all county departments, partner agencies, and others involved in emergencies. And we talk about what we're going to do mitigation, right, to limit the impacts of disasters, how we're going to prepare both the county and the community, how we're going to respond when the disaster happens. And the when is really important because we know a disaster is coming for us, right? But we just don't know when it's going to happen and what it's going to be. And then how we recover, right? Once a disaster happens, what can we do to get back in plans? One of the great things about this plan is that it lays out each county department's responsibility. So you'll hear about it in a couple of slides. We always tell the public, y'all need to talk to your family, know who's doing what, so that when the disaster happens, you have your role. And this is the county doing exactly that. We can go to the next one. So the EOP, the Emergency Operations Plan, matters because it lays out all those responsibilities, but it also ensures that we're in alignment with state and federal policies and procedures, right? When a big disaster happens, there are sometimes federal and state resources that become available for communities, right? In the 2023 winter storms, FEMA was out here all throughout the counties, making sure people were registered if they qualified for aid. And those things only happen if our plans are in alignment and our processes are in place, right? By also outlining each county department's responsibilities, the departments then get to come in and practice those skills. So in our county, we have an emergency operations center, which is in Martinez. And when a big disaster happens, all the county departments come together there to manage a disaster, whether it's sharing information, ordering resources, so that the police and fire and public works who are actively working on their response can focus on that while we focus on those kind of things. In our pictures here, you can see one of our GIS folks at the county talking about one of the maps. But on the bottom picture, you can see the Can Shelter branch, which is led by EHSD, talking to Public Works, which does our purchasing, to practice how we're going to resource shelters when they happen. That's the next one, thank you. So we are in the beginning part of our writing process. Our process will go through November 2027. And this is the time where we're looking for community feedback. Other things besides the county responsibilities that this plan talks about is really what our hazard priorities are and what our concerns are. And especially in unincorporated areas, it's really important to know what y'all are concerned about, because then as we're writing the plan and we're talking to the departments, okay, we need processes for this, we can use that feedback to kind of shape the plan. So you're seeing us now, and then the comment period will be open throughout the plan, but you'll also see us at the end of the writing process, hopefully in summer of 2027, so we can talk about the feedback y'all provided, hopefully, and how it shaped the plan. And then with that, we always like to talk about disaster preparedness, and there's really 3 big things for everyone to know. Is 1, know your risk, right? The areas where you live impact your risk, right?
I grew up in Richmond, so I know earthquakes, the refineries and floods are really big deals out here, right? We also have a little bit of a tsunami risk depending on when the earthquake is. So I know that those are the things I have to prepare for, and I also have to prepare my family for. But I also know that my grandpa, who lives a couple blocks away, actually, since he's older, he's more at risk because he needs different resources and he needs his medication, right? So risk is not only about the hazard, it's also about what you need and what might be impacted in a disaster. Knowing your needs is really important. You know better than anybody else what you need to be comfortable in a day, right? Your medication, your toiletries, your clothes, all of those things are things that we need to plan for in a disaster. Because if you need it in a regular day, on a disaster day, you're gonna need it even more, right? And if you have it ready and you have it set, it's something you don't have to think about. And then I'm gonna pass it on to Leslie after this, but it's really staying informed. If you're ready and you know your needs, how will you get the notifications of the disaster and what you need to do?
So part of being ready, as B said, is staying informed, right? So the Contra Costa Community Warning System is Contra Costa's all hazard mass notification system. So we're the alerting authority for the county. And we send alerts only when there's an imminent threat and there's a protective action that you need to take, right? We're not sending you an alert saying, hey, it's raining outside, right? We're not saying there's a road closure. We are sending, for example, as you can see here, if there's a fire, we're sending an evacuation warning, right? An evacuation order. If, oh, that's okay.
You know, because people are listening, y'all just running off.
Thank you. Okay, I'll slow down.
Slow down.
You will do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So as you know, in the county, we have refineries, right? And so for hazardous materials incidents, we'll send out things like shelters in place, right? And then for law enforcement activity, an alert from the CWS would look like, you know, shelter in place due to law enforcement activity. So this is what the CWS alert activation looks like. So this is before you get the alert, right? So an incident takes place, for example, let's say here in North Richmond, right? So there's a fire that may be started. And then from there, an incident commander, which is basically a first responder. So this could be police, fire, right? They notice that there needs to be an alert that needs to go out to the community. So they will then in turn call our sheriff's office dispatch. And from there, they'll say, hey, we need a CWS alert. We need to alert the community. And from there, our small but mighty team of 3 is on call 24/7. So if it's at 2 in the morning, we're picking up the phone and we're saying, hi, what do you need, right? And so then from there, in our system, we have templates that are ready to go. And so basically we get the information from those first responders and we send out the alert, right? And so when we send out the alert, the importance of the first responder is because they're telling us, right? They're our eyes on the field. So they're telling us who needs to be notified. And the reason that the importance of that is that if something's going on here, we don't want people knowing in Antioch, right? We want to, if you're getting an alert, it's because there's something you need to do. That's the biggest part of the community warning system, right? If we're sending you an alert, you got to do something. And then from there, again, we get the critical details, we send out the alert, and then it goes out to the public. Now, how does it go out to the public, right? There's many tools that the community warning system utilizes to get that information out to you. The main way is to sign up for alerts, right? So cwsalerts.com is where you can sign up and you can put up to 3 addresses. So if you live and work in the county, for example, I live in Martinez, but I also work in Martinez in 2 separate areas. You can put up to 3 addresses. You can put up to 3 phone numbers for phone calls, 3 phone numbers for text message, and then 3 emails. And then cwsalerts.com, we also, not only is that our website where you can sign up, but our alerts are always going to be on there. So if you go, if there's an active alert, you can always click there and you'll see that active alert with the map as well as the information of the alert. We also, apart from phone calls, texts, and emails, we have access to federal tools. So what that means is, as the county alerting authority, we can send out wireless emergency alerts. So have you guys ever gotten an Amber Alert? Perfect. That's pretty much the mechanism that we can use, and that's based on cell phone towers. So you don't have to be registered. If your cell phone tower is in that location where we're sending the alert, you're going to get the alert, right? And then we can also access the emergency alert system, which is an antiquated system, but still very good, right? It taps into TV and radio. You guys, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that test, right? On the TV when you're watching it. And then lastly, NOAA weather radios, which I think is most important because if there is no power and there's no cell phone service, the NOAA weather radio will still amplify the alert, right? They'll send out the alert. So, and the NOAA weather radio can be found on Amazon for about 20 bucks. This is really good, as we talked about in preparedness. That's one thing that we can do to be prepared, right? How are you gonna get the alert? And so we use all these different mechanisms because we rather have more ways of alerting you than none, right? And then lastly, we have sirens. So as you guys know, you guys are near, North Richmond is near the refinery. I'm sure you guys have heard, and I'm so sorry, that siren that there's a monthly test every first Wednesday. And so as you guys know, and hopefully if not, that siren, if it rings outside of the first Wednesday of every month, it means that there is something happening at the refinery and you need to shelter in place. Shelter, shut, and listen, right? Close all windows, all doors, and wait for further information. Next slide, please. And so why register for CWS? So I just mentioned to you the different ways that we send out alerts. So if you are not registered for the community warning system, you're basically just going to get that Amber Alert, right? The Amber Alert just tells you, leave now, there's a fire. It's not giving you all that important information. It is telling you, go to the website to get more info. But if you're registered, we're calling you, we're texting you, you're getting up, right? Hopefully. So as I said, we'd rather have more ways of alerting you than none. So that's the importance. Basically, the slide is just depicting the importance of being registered and how you'll get more information if you're registered. Perfect. And then when you signed up to receive that alert, or even if you didn't sign up and you received the alert, the importance of getting the alert is taking that action, right? Sometimes I know people can be scared, they're not sure what to do, but it's important that you read the entirety of the alert and do what the alert is saying. For example, as you guys can see here, the alert is saying evacuation order due to fire, right? Leave now. And so again, there's a link where you can click for the map and to see the affected area. But it's really important that you definitely pay attention to these orders. Again, if the community warning system is sending something, it's because there's something that you need to do to protect your life. So some of the main alerts we send out are shelter in place, right? Shelter yourself, close all windows and doors. And evacuation warning means prepare to evacuate, right? And if you require more time to evacuate, you want to consider leaving, right? And then lastly, an evacuation order, which is a lawful order that you need to leave in order to protect yourself. Next slide. And I will pass it over to you.
So once you've done your preparedness, right, you have your kit, you've registered or you've received an alert. This is when you decide, okay, is it a shelter in place and I'm staying at home, right, shutting my windows, shutting my doors, or is it an evacuation and I'm leaving? When we're talking about preparedness, it's important to plan both for when you have to stay and when you have to go. It's a little easier to plan for staying at home, right? Because you'll have food, you have your clothes, but it's also very important to have your things ready to go in a bag. And I know building a preparedness kit can seem expensive and can seem daunting. So the way we like to teach it is you pick one item a month and you're like, this month I'm getting my flashlight. This month, I'm getting my 3 gallons of water. This month, I'm doing that. Because even if the disaster happens on month 3, you have a little bit of stuff to get you started, right? And if the disaster happens a year from now, you have 12 months of preparedness materials already ready to go. With your family or your loved ones or your network, it's really important to have a method for how you're going to communicate. In a disaster, it's actually a lot easier to call out of state and out of the area than it is to call locally, right? So Leslie and me standing next to each other wouldn't be able to get a call in, but we could call our friends in Colorado or we can send a text. So consider that of having an additional point person of my sisters and I know we're checking in with our friend who lives in Washington and we're both going to text them and say, hey, we're good. This is where we're going. So then we know how to share that information. And then the most important thing is if you have your kit, you have your plan, wait to start making those notifications until you get to your safe space, right? don't start making the calls in the middle of the evacuation and things like that, because that could slow you down and waste precious minutes while you're trying to leave. We talked about information and we talked about the actions you have to take. So now we're going to talk a little bit about staying safe after a disaster. If you've been evacuated, it's really important that you don't return home until you get the alert or the information that you can return. This makes it safer for you, but it also makes it safer for first responders because they don't have to worry about people in dangerous areas. Especially if you're coming back after an earthquake or a wildfire, be very careful of damage. And as you're cleaning, if you don't know if something's good or not, it's better to throw it out than to stay and keep something in your house that might be unsafe. It's really important that you record your damage. This is important if you have insurance, because that's the first question your insurance is going to ask before you start rebuilding or fixing things. What did the damage look like? But it's also the first question that any state nonprofits or federal agencies are going to ask if there's assistance is, did you record your damage? Did you call your insurance? And things like that. One of the things you'll notice if you don't know where to go or what resources are available is that whenever there's a large disaster, you'll actually see all this information on the county homepage. So if you haven't heard anything or you're like, hey, I don't know, there's been a big flood, there's been a big incident, I don't know, the information will be there as to what's available, what the county is doing, and if any additional resources are there. And then with that, the last thing is part of staying safe and staying informed is engaging your network. So talk to your loved ones and your neighbors and your family about what you all are doing in a disaster. If there's people inside your networks that might require additional support, now's the time to start having those conversations and things like that. And then make a plan with your loved ones, especially if you might not be home, or you might need support within your home on who's doing what, and then someone who has access to your house, right? In case you're not home and you need your kit or your pets at home and things like that, you have someone you trust who can help you. And with that, there is a whole bunch of additional resources ready, and Listos has really good information in multiple language that you can use for preparedness. And with that, we'll open it up for questions.
And I just wanted to say too, as far as the community warning system, you can sign up for the community warning system at cwsalerts.com. We did bring resources, so we have brochures. We have two different types of brochures because you guys are very special. One is the regular brochure, and the second one is about the refineries, because you guys are near there. It has some more information about the different levels, right? So that is great information. And we also brought FireWise guide. So if you guys ever need more information, if you guys ever want us to come and do a presentation, we'd be more than happy to. And I think our email is on the next slide.
Thank you. Questions?
You did mention that the warnings that people can get, like an Amber Alert, is that by cell phone towers. Is it necessary for someone to register to receive more immediate information in their community? Is that why we're asking people to register?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so the point of that was that we as and can use that mechanism, which yeah, it's based on cell phone towers. So technically, you don't have to be registered. If there's an alert, we'll send it out if you're in the geographic area or the polygon that the first responder is giving. But the reason it's important to be registered is because, yeah, like if for whatever reason you don't get it, we don't want to rely on just one method, right? We want you to make sure if there's an alert and there's something you need to do, you get it, you get blasted on your phone pretty much. And yeah, the more information will be on the longer text or on the website.
And maybe not for phone calls, but is there a way to design the messages to be in a different language, such as Spanish, or maybe there's Tagalog or just different Spanish requirements for the recipient?
Yeah, that's a great question. So some phones have their own settings where you can, your own messages that come in, and that's based on whatever phone you have. As far as the community warning system with different alerts, currently you can sign up to receive alerts in Spanish. So if you, when you register, you'll say what language you want, and it's currently only English and Spanish. But on our website, if you click on our website when the alert is happening, there's a whole bunch of other languages that it translates to.
Thank you. That concludes my-
Okay, thank you very much for coming. And move on to meeting updates. And Tanya's not here with us right now, so we'll start with,
Thank you. I do want to share that Saturday, August 29th, from 12 to 5 in downtown Richmond, close to the Richmond BART station, we will have the Spirit and Soul Festival. So it's a free community event with a bunch of nonprofits, community resources, all for free, live entertainment. There will be a full day of live performances, a classic car show, food vendors, artisan vendors, and registrations for these vendors. And to be part of the festival is open. To be a vendor, it's only $25. We make it very accessible and easy for first-time business, people who want to start their business for the first time. Any help, I'm the person who's coordinating, so you can reach out to me. The email is events, events, @richmondmainstreet.com. The website is richmondmainstreet.com. I'm just putting this out there to invite you to come out. It's not limited to any part of Richmond. Anybody can come out. It's right close to GART, close to the bus station. It's free. And it'll be all day, so we'll have Andre Thierry, we'll have somebody who's named Butter, and Aretha Franklin, cover band, and another local band, Red Kicks Crew, that's like Michael Jackson, Prince cover, and just DJ all day, so please come out, have a good day, August 29th, Saturday.
Tanya, you're up for your updates.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. And I do want to follow up with y'all about the having like a presentation just on the refinery alerts, because I know that has come up a lot. And so we just want to have a more in-depth conversation of like, what do you alert? Because we've been in conversations with the air district about doing an air monitor presentation. So I feel like this really much aligns here. There's some synergy. So maybe we could even have it on the same day. So we talk about air monitors and then we talk about these refinery alerts, and get like a full kind of like scope of like what's in the air, where do you alert, like, how do we make sure people are signed up? So thank you so much for coming in person. Like, we really do appreciate it. So some updates are that there's construction still happening at Wildcat Creek, right? I don't know if I announced it at last meeting, but there's a lot of construction happening right now. They're doing Public Works received a grant to do some retrofits there. So basically, I don't know, they still don't know exactly why, but Wildcat Creek gets a lot of sediment. Like, I'm talking about like a ridiculous amount. Like, they're still trying to figure out why, because you have some Pablo Creek that's only like, a couple feet away, and that creek is not getting the level of sediment that Wildcat Creek is. So they're still trying to figure out why, but essentially it's so much sediment. It's like taller than me. I'm not that tall, but it's really, it's a lot, right? And the fish can't basically swim up, even if they try. So they're doing a lot of renovations to fix the fish passage. And in the process, they've done an impressive amount of soil movement there. And so I am opening up an invitation to everyone to do a site visit with Public Works. I extended it to Kalu and Janine already. And we want to do it with Supervisor Joya because he also wants to go out there. And I'm hoping that the new principal at Verde also comes. Her name is Principal Soriano Ponce. So I've heard great things. We're like really hopeful that she's a win. And so, hopefully doing a community kind of walk of what's happening at Wildcat Creek, because there's a lot happening there. Another thing I wanted to mention was that we are, kind of chipping away at the business on Market Avenue. It's the one that used to have all of the vending machines, right after you pass, like near the railroad track, it's been kind of a sore eye for many years. And so just to let people know that we're not just kind of letting it die in the water, like we're like continuing to work on it. And I did have a conversation with code enforcement and they gave me an update on the status and they're gonna keep moving forward with basically at this point, I think it's fines to try to get at least the garbage and the debris kind of managed. Like I just drove down there and it was like, it just looks like a mini landfill, to be honest. And it's like such a sore eye. It's like at the entrance of the community, it's like you're coming in and you're like, what is this? So we have that. We're on top of it. Like we're like moving on to the next phase of it. And I think code enforcement was being a little was trying to work with the owner, but now it's reached the next phase of it. So of course.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
It has been overpowered.
Ooh.
I mean,
It's yeah.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you mentioned that. It's just become overpowering. And I was just wondering, how could they get away with doing that when we have a landfill? And for that to become a field, a lot of having all that debris in bags. It's just terrible. To come in and to see that, once you come over the track.
Yeah.
It's terrible. So I'm glad you all are looking into that because that shouldn't happen.
Exactly.
It shouldn't happen, and it's just been sort of cumulative for the last couple of years. It's just really has gotten outrageous.
Yeah, and part of it is because that it's been changing business types. Like it used to do the vending machines. It no longer does the vending machines. Now it's doing like recycling clothes and stuff. So the land use has changed, and so the permits haven't landed on a permit, but it sounds like as of now they're landing on the recycling clothes business. So now we can use that as if that's the business, then these are the regulations, right? This is like the standards for this business. And this is how because that was the hard part, that they were jumping around businesses a little bit, that it was kind of like, what do you regulate? What type of business is it, right? Like you kind of have to answer that question first before other things kind of come to play. So now that they've landed on this business type, then like you said, that then like will trigger the land use, the standard, like what's acceptable, not acceptable and stuff. So thankfully they've landed on that. So that kind of has allowed code enforcement to kind of be like, okay, if this is the use, this is the permit, this is the land use permit you have to do, and this is the regulations, because it's like you said, it should have never gotten to that point, and this is where we are. So now we have to like be diligent about it. So I'll make sure to give monthly reports on it every time I come up, just to be like, this is what's happened, because they are now in a 30-day time, of notice. So I'll keep updated with that. And then the county will come next month to give an update on the Market Street improvements that they got funding for. So that'll be happening next month. So hopefully, that we get like a little facelift along Market Avenue, because I know it's a big corridor in the community. So it's important for it to look better, so. Yeah. And another thing that I haven't forgotten about, that I've been trying to be a squeaky wheel about, is the Veolia grant. So the city did inform me that they do have enough people who have applied for the seats. They only need 5 people. It's 5 seats. 1 seat is basically non-existent because the West Toxic Coalition no longer exists. So that means it's kind of like 4 seats, but they told me as long as they have 3 people, that's a quorum and they can move forward. And right now they have 7 people who will apply to it. So we should be in a good place. It's just kind of getting them to move forward, because it's a city-owned managed grant. So the city has to manage it, and they have to, it's similar to this council. They have to follow the Brown Act rules. They have to have quorum. They have to make everything public, so, but, there's roughly like $300,000 in that pot of funding, and it's for North Richmond and the Iron Triangle, so we really do want access to that funding, especially as funding has dwindled down significantly, and a lot of the foundations and grants no longer exist the way that they used to, so we really wanna release the funds, like free the funds.
The Viola.
Veolia, yeah, so there's a Veolia facility right here in North Richmond on Hensley, and so as part of the community benefits agreement, they agreed to pay a certain percentage every year. But due to city staff capacity, they haven't granted any funding. I want to say like close to 10 years, it feels like almost, yeah. Yeah, it's been a long time. So thankfully, something they did do right was like create a separate bank account for it. So it's like been collecting in its own bank account, and it doesn't get like mixed up or anything with, it's not part of the general fund. It's like its own thing. So thankfully, like it's just been accumulating, but now it's like we have to come, like the city has to convene a community selection panel because they will be the ones who will review all the applications and select the awardees and stuff. So hopefully we'll hear, I'm contacting them, so hopefully we'll have an update by the next one. I've asked them to come, so I'll ask them again if they can come to the next meeting and give an update. I think those are like my big updates. Okay, so one last one I do want to give because I was in a meeting yesterday. This is my last one. The Air District, there's a community advisory committee through AB 617. And so this committee is really important to the Air District. They basically come up with like the goals of the Air District for AB 617 communities include North Richmond, San Pablo, Montalvan, and North Richmond. So it's like it's just these 4 neighborhoods that comprise of the 8617 communities for the Air District, and there's open seats right now. And we had a meeting with them yesterday, and no one has applied. There's still like 20 days left for the application to close, but it is a paid position. So you basically get paid to learn about air in your community and like what's in the air, like what is the Air District doing about it and stuff like that. And we definitely want to work more closely with the committee, right? Because there's a lot of concerns that align with North Richmond, and we're part of that initiative, the AB 617. So if you know someone, that you think would be a good fit, I think it would be really important to have some North Richmond representation on that committee.
How long do they have? 20?
Yeah, it's like 20 more days. Yeah.
We could get some to our residents at our properties.
Yeah.
And if not, this is a spinoff from what we did 5 years ago.
Yeah. Exactly. This is like the permanent kind of committee. Like we were part of the pilot one, and now this is the one that gets paid, and they get paid like a nice stipend to be involved. So I'll send the application to everyone.
Well, they made a decision on, both the county and this Air District, have they made a decision on the, grants that were distributed? The proposals that were submitted, have they, decided who's gonna get those funds?
No, they got like over 200 applications, and so they have 2 different panels. They have like a community selection panel and then like a technical advisory panel. And they've like given every person like a certain amount of applications to review and a criteria. So they're just still reading through all of them and like putting them in a criteria. But their goal is to announce by the end of this year, who the money will go to, who the awards will go to.
And for Supervisor Joya's grant, has any communication gone out on who received those? So the grant is for.
I have to check in with Dante. He's kind of our staff point for that. I don't know if we have sent anything. We have. Yeah. It went out?
Yeah, only person from North Richmond received funds was the North Richmond Baptist, and I think they received like 10K.
It was two other ones. So the new Tibetan church that used to be, they got funding too. And then Martha Nieto basically did a spin-off of the PTA at Verde, and she's doing like a leadership program with basically like who belongs to the PTA, because they're a very active PTA and they want to do more community work. So she's running like a program with them. Those are other two that I know got funding. Yeah.
Yeah, two things, talking about the grant, just at the, I think it was the Board of Supervisors meeting, earlier today. They spoke of a pot of money that was distributed, I don't know if it was that 1 million per, division, you know, the Board of Supervisors, each supervisor had $1 million, and that went into, that money came back, and they awarded, I think, 7 individuals, if I'm not mistaken. And one place was, one was Richmond, and then they had several, they had, if you look at the Board of Supervisors, if you go back and look at, it speaks of that million that was distributed from each Board of Supervisors in their county and their district. And they still have money left of something like 7.3 million, but that's a separate, is that a separate, it looked like it's a tie-in. But the awardees, I know the awardees that you're speaking of, that I was told that some of the individuals were already awarded. So the announcement, they're waiting to be announced, but they have told who has been awarded, the ones that have been awarded. It just haven't been publicly announced.
Yeah, I don't know if we've sent out like a newsletter per se or communications like that, but all the awardees for Supervisor Joya were part of a board order, and I have to go back, but there's like basically like a Excel sheet, like a chart, and it shows every org and the amount and like kind of what they do. So I could share that out to everyone, because that was, yeah.
Maybe I didn't see those other orgs listed as a North Richmond org, so let me identify it with
The name of the nonprofit.
Yes.
The name of the nonprofit.
It's the name of the nonprofit, yeah.
And then this other one, then I'll just piggyback on this. But what's with the street sweeper going down the middle of the street?
Yeah, I mean, this is like a tale of the longest time ever, but no.
Yo, they have somebody that drives before the street sweeper and ticket, put those stickers.
Yeah.
On their window. They don't do that here.
Well, we did have, and Kalu can probably say something, but I guess just really quickly, we have a new deputy, and the prior 2 deputies that we had committed to ticketing, and one of them I know for sure did it, and I believe Ironman did it as well. So the last 2 have ticketed, but then we keep getting new deputies. So now we have a new one. So now we have to like kind of bring this person on board and make the commitment. Thankfully, the lieutenant is the same. So, and he's already approved of them spending their time doing that. So I think it's just like kind of onboarding them again, to kind of be like, hello, this is an agreement we've had with the prior deputy. So unfortunately, yeah, they keep getting promoted, I guess, and being sent to other communities to do other things. So we're like on our 3rd one within like a year or something, so.
Yeah, they both have promoted to detective. But we just started probably about 2 weeks ago. So he has some other things going on. We had to take care of training and stuff like that. So he should be in place. He's in place, but he should be in the community the next week or so. And then over in Richmond side, city side, they do have cars going around giving tickets on that side. So,
Tickets are one.
Tickets. I live on the city side, so I'm like, they're ticketing. Yeah.
I entertain a motion to extend the, meeting to. This will be your motion.
Yes, sir.
For a second. Been approved, we extended to, all in favor, never say aye. Opposed, sometimes we extended to 7:15. One more thing, Tony, we talked about having a board retreat.
Yeah.
And so if we could get that done this year, would be good. Maybe we can find a site or whatever, just to get everybody,
Acclimated.
priorities for what's coming up.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, perfect. Okay.
And I will talk to you about York Street on the corporate side over there that goes down the road. There's no stop signs in there.
Okay.
You know, it's like, I don't, people can be just crashing into each other, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, this is market, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so CHDC, and I just want to let you know that we've broken ground on Heritage Grocery. We started moving dirt over there. So we'll have an official groundbreaking ceremony probably in October, where we do our 36-year anniversary. So it'll be a block party in the whole community area. We'll shut down the street by our office and have a really good time. So I'll keep letting you know about that as it goes forward. And after that, I'll turn it over to Sandra.
How you doing? I'm Kyle Dennis. I'm the Community Services Coordinator. Nothing really new to report. Just getting ready for this new fiscal year. Been circling back, talking to a lot of our partners that we work with, like the Hotspot crew. Talked about some of the complaints that we dealt with last year as far as trash not being picked up in a timely manner. So just wanted to relay that message to them. The last 2 weeks, I've been seeing a lot of trash getting picked up a lot faster. So, so I guess the conversation went well. We're on board a new deputy. We have a new guy for our environmental investigations that has started the last couple of months. So he's getting acquainted with North Richmond. Besides that, just getting ready for the newsletter will be coming out in September. And then we're getting ready for the Willie Spears event on October 10th.
All right, thank you. The report, Janine Shahi, Prevention Service Coordinator. Just real quickly is that we have been performing a lot of community outreach. We were at the Shields Reed grand opening that went into the 15th annual music festival. We were at National Night Out. We were at North Richmond Baptist Church block party, and we'll continue to do outreach, promoting all in our green waste-related resources available to the community, disposable vouchers, bulky item pickup, and all resources. People are starting to call, and I had a bilingual senior on last Wednesday after Zumba who made phone calls to over 50, doing follow-up phone calls about the related resources to waste. And so anyway, as he said, the hotspot crew, we had 542 illegal occurrences that were reported for the month of July. So the number is going down. So that's good. And then that's all I have to report. I have a lot more, but huh? Oh, so one more thing. I'm also the community engagement manager, and we're currently investigating having a polling site here for people to come and vote. So it's in the early stages. Ms. Corrine actually used to have that here. And so we'll be doing a survey evaluation on the 18th. So nothing is guaranteed right now, but at least we're starting the process.
Okay, well, just if you all can stand for one moment, please. Everybody in such a hurry tonight. People ran off with their presentation. Y'all did a little short, so y'all know the presentation, skipping folks. But this is just a comment, and I've been watching you all for quite some time, and I just want to give you kudos. You've been doing a fine job, and if you haven't heard it from the community, we can see it in the community, and I just wanted to publicly put that on the record for you all. You have been doing an outstanding job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. City of Richmond. Anybody from the city? Housing Authority?
Good evening, everybody. This is Tony Usbury with the Housing Authority of Contra Costa County. I want to give you an update on our market rate sales. So up until today, we've had 11 out of the 18 properties close on their sales. 2 others are getting ready to close later this month. It's been a little slow in getting those done. It's been some lender complications, so we're working on that. Of the remaining 5 sites, 2 properties actually are still on the market. One is the vacant lot at 1601 and 1605 2nd Street. Told you about that one last meeting. And the other property just went back on the market. The sale fell through. That's at 1639 to 1641 6th Street. So if anyone is interested in pursuing that, it is back on the market and available. And then the 3 other sites are in escrow. They're still working with their financing. So we've been pretty flexible about giving them the time to get those done. Generally, it involves lenders needing additional documentation from people and that kind of thing. We do have to get new appraisals for these 2 properties that are still on the market because the old ones have expired, and we do have to go to HUD to get approval to resell those. So once the appraisals come back in, then we'll be a little more aggressive about putting them out for sale. The below market units that we sold for $1 and are being rehabbed, Richmond Community Foundation has completed all their properties, and I'm putting in the chat the 4 addresses that are involved with their properties, spread around Jeremita, Fred Jackson Way, 4th Street, and Silver at 5th. So those are still entertaining offers. Families or the buyers that are interested have to be at 80% of area median income to qualify. Otherwise, they're able to do that. And then Richmond Neighborhood Housing Services is still working on their properties to get them rehabbed. So hopefully those will be coming to market a little later, either this year or early next year. On the main campus, we finally got HUD approval to proceed with execution of the exclusive negotiating agreement with Eden Housing and Community Housing Development Corporation. We've sent the final documents to CHDC, waiting for them to review that and get them signed and get them back to us so that then we can launch into starting the master development agreement and getting that drafted up. I think this will be a little more interactive with the community, or at least after it's drafted. Our CHCC, they need and should be bringing that back to the community for input on, what the site looks like, what the new housing is going to look like, what kind of amenities, that kind of thing. So be looking for that in the future, and encourage everyone to participate in that process. In the room, I have B. Coleman, our Coro Fellow with the Partnership for the Bay's Future, and she's going to provide some additional updates. B?
Yeah, I'll just add, and in the interest of time, not too much, but one of the things we're doing with the fellowship is really just trying to maximize outreach Maximize outreach and awareness. So we're doing an effort right now to design a series of banners and billboards, both to promote and starting with promoting the RCF properties, locally here on 13th and Chesley, and that should go up on the 24th. And we have that reserved to the end of the month. So I definitely want to talk with y'all more about what other things we can be using that billboard for. I said month, I meant year. We have it through the end of the year. We also will have a billboard on the 4. It's a digital billboard, and that'll be going up also on the 24th. And then Buy Back the Jets, which I will not say a lot more about because I'll leave Richmond Land too, but we're trying to get sponsorships and folks to table and resource there. So that'll be on the 26th at Shields Reed. Questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Let me add one thing. As of the 3rd, the duplex that RCF is selling is now listed as pending. So it does seem like they have an offer on that, and hopefully that'll close soon.
Okay, we'll need to extend the time a little bit, so, whether, anything, a motion to extend for another.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion to extend for another 15 minutes.
There a second?
Second.
Second, approval, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, extensions. Extended it over. Okay, so Richmond Lane.
Welcome. Not so much updates for Richmond Land. One thing that we are highlighting and celebrating this month is Richmond Land, under my leadership, within a year and a half, has been able to close on our very first property on the south side of Richmond. Thank you. It's a triplex that holds 3 BIPOC families. And we had that property under a bridge loan for 5 years. So we're really, really excited to have preserved this property now. Our residents are safe. And our COT model is being proven here in Richmond. So we're celebrating that. Richmond Land's membership is always open. We have a membership meeting this month. Our members really guide the vision and the mission of the organization. And you can all become a member for $22 a year. If you believe in our Prince of Unity. We have an orientation. Orientations are for anyone who wants to learn what a CLT is, a community land trust here in your neighborhood, that anyone here, residents here in Richmond and West Contra Costa County, they can utilize as a tool to support us in advancing community ownership by removing land and property from the market and holding it into our trust for the long-term benefit of the community. So you can come to our orientations every 3rd Tuesday of the month. It's virtual, it's on Zoom, and it's in the evening from 5:30 to 6:30. You can also talk to the staff and get hands-on assistance for signups. The last thing I want to say is please, please, please save the date. We are going to be hosting our 2nd annual Buy Back the Jets Housing Resource Fair at Shields Reed Community Center from 12 to 5 on Saturday, September 26th. We're gonna be hosting a lot of activities there, so you can sign up to bring your table out to provide resources to the community. You can also sign up as a vendor if you want to come and provide service at the Buy Back the Jets event. So please reach out to Richmond Land at info@richmondland.org. And also, it's really just impactful, right? Buy Back the Jets is this huge initiative, and I've not been hearing it happening around the Bay Area. We all been hearing that public project-based housing is being demolished, right? People have been moving elsewhere, migrating towards like Antioch and Pittsburgh, right? And so, but no, around the Bay Area, am I hearing that community has come together to buy back project-based housing? And so it's really, really huge for North Richmond. I think this is a moment in history, and I really hope that you all can attend and participate in this upcoming event.
Arlington.
Okay, so we had interns from Supervisor Joy's office at the farm. We had some young people from Park Conservancy at the farm. We also had a group from Youth Work at the farm. We had a couple of neighborhood council, Shield Street Neighborhood Council asked us to be at National Night Out, so we were able to make that. And thankful to Leticia, North Richmond resident, she was able to come out and volunteer with us. Also, Rochester Neighborhood Council asked us to come and participate with an event this past Saturday. We were able to do that, and Leticia, her son Eric, and Miss Jeanette were able to come, and Jeanette, Lord, Miss Janine was able to come, and yeah, so that was our first time, actually our first time attending those events. Let's see here. I think I mentioned to you all, we are, we had the residents vote on different projects, and one of our elders submitted a project to repaint houses that were affected by refinery silt. And we're in the process of getting estimates from licensed painters. So if you know anyone, we're looking for, we want them to be licensed and bonded. And I think one caveat is, if the house that is chosen through this process, as it's gonna be a soft launch is like in October is our hope. So any house that was built before 1978 will need the person to have like lead experience. So we're looking for painting contractors and those that would have lead experience, also power washing. So those are some of the things that we're looking to get estimates on. Our flower, we have beautiful flowers at the farm, and we're just they're at Planting Justice. I don't know if you've been to that cafe in El Sobrante, but they're selling our flowers there. If you're looking for things, that would be a great place to get them. Our after school at the farm has resumed, pre-K through 5th grade every Wednesday from 3:30 to 5 this month and next month. Tending Together, that's new. So it's a you pick area, you can come and so you can harvest and you can help tend that area. I am hosting a Zimbabwean wellness tea blending event on Saturday with a local entrepreneur. Yeah, she has lots of specialties, and one of them is tea and wellness and honey. So we'll be at the farm. And also, fourth Saturdays, that's a great day to come out to volunteer at the farm. It's every fourth Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you can find out about all of our events at urbantuck.org/events. And I think Cheryl was there, and I was going to ask Cheryl if she had anything.
And that's on our agenda, and so we are adjourned. Thank you.